ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Yes, continuation to the last class. Mechanism of formation of lymph. So what is the formation of the lymph mechanism? How that kind of the lymph formation is taken place means, just assume this is the tissue, this is the tissue, here this is the one cell, this is the another cell. So between the two cells, whatever the space is present, that is the extracellular space. This is the extracellular space. So inside of extracellular space, capillary network is present. This is said to be as the artery. Definitely artery divides into arterioles. This is the arterioles. Again this arteriole inside of extracellular space is divides into fine branches, that is said to be as the capillaries. Again these capillaries later connected with the venules. This is said to be as the venule. All that venules are united and form the veins. So in that way, in extracellular space there is the capillary network. Definitely arterioles are terminated as the capillaries or divides into capillaries in extracellular space. These capillaries are connected with the venules. Venules are united and form the vein. Definitely diameter is gradually decreases from artery to capillaries. Diameter of the artery is greater than diameter of arteriole. Diameter of arteriole is greater than capillary. As progressively diameter is decreases towards the capillary, blood pressure is gradually increases. Means in capillary, blood pressure or hydrostatic pressure of blood is increases. Hydrostatic pressure is nothing but blood pressure. As the diameter is gradually decreases from artery to capillaries, blood hydrostatic pressure is gradually increases towards the capillary. Whenever the blood hydrostatic pressure is increases in capillary, that blood is subjected to filtration through the wall of the capillary. Means due to the highest pressure, this blood plasma along with the dissolved material and small sized proteins or gets filtrated through the wall of the capillary into the surrounding space, that is the extracellular space. Due to the increased blood hydrostatic pressure, this blood is subjected to filtration through the capillary wall. By that way, blood plasma, dissolved material and small sized proteins are gets filtered into the surrounding space. That kind of the fluid which is gets reaches into the surrounding space, that is said to be as the ECF, extracellular fluid. Definitely extracellular fluid formation is mainly due to blood hydrostatic pressure. Due to the increased blood hydrostatic pressure, this blood is subjected to filtration through the wall of the capillary into the extracellular space. That kind of the fluid is said to be as the ECF, extracellular fluid. Again, in the case of the extracellular fluid, water rich means nutrients are rich, oxygen is also rich in extracellular fluid. Definitely in the extracellular fluid, nutrients are rich, oxygen is also rich in this kind of the ECF. So that only from this ECF, nutrients are gets diffuses into the cell, oxygen is also gets diffuses into the cell from the ECF after immediate formation. At the same time, from the cell into the ECF, CO2 is gets diffuses. At the same time, waste material which is gets formed inside of the cell is also moves into the ECF. After immediate formation of the extracellular fluid, from the extracellular fluid, nutrients are gets diffuses into the cell, oxygen is also gets diffuses into the cell. In return to that, CO2 is gets diffuses from the cell into ECF, waste material is also gets diffuses into the ECF from the cell. In that way, exchange of O2 CO2, exchange of nutrients and waste is taken place between the ECF and the cell after immediate formation of ECF. At the time of completion of exchange of this O2 CO2 nutrient waste between the ECF and the tissue, remaining blood which is present in capillaries reaches to venule. As this exchange of the CO2, O2 and nutrient waste is going on between the ECF and the tissue, between the ECF and the cell, blood which is present in the capillaries reaches to the venule or venular end. So definitely whenever the blood is reaches to venular end, this blood concentration is reaches to peak into level, because in this particular blood, big sized plasma proteins are present as it isly, big sized plasma proteins are retains as it isly, and RBC cells also retains as it isly. So that only concentration of the blood is reaches to peak into level, that is said to be as the blood colloidal osmotic pressure. That is said to be as the blood colloidal osmotic pressure. Means if the concentration of the blood is reaches to peak into level, due to the big sized plasma proteins, due to the big sized blood cell, definitely this blood concentration is reaches to peak into level whenever that blood is reaches to the end of venule. That highest concentration of blood is said to be as the blood colloidal osmotic pressure. As a result of this increased blood colloidal osmotic pressure, 85% of ECF is written back into the blood at the end of the venular end. Because of due to the increased concentration of blood, as per the osmosis, this ECF gets written back into the blood. About 85% of the ECF gets written back into the blood by the osmosis. Means osmosis nothing but movement of the fluid from lower concentrated area to higher concentrated area. Movement of the fluid from the lower concentrated area to higher concentrated area is said to be as the osmosis. So that only here, in this particular case, at the end of the venular, concentration of the blood becomes greater than surrounding ECF. As a result of this, 85% of the ECF is written back into the blood through the wall of the venular end by the osmosis. After returning 85% of the ECF into blood, then how much percent of the ECF is retains in extracellular space as it is remains? 15%. 15% of the 15% of ECF is retains in extracellular space as it is that 15% of the ECF is later entered into the lymph capillary. Then onwards we can say that is the lymph here. After returning of 85% of the ECF into the blood through the venular end, remaining 15% of the ECF which is retains in extracellular space as it is that 15% of ECF is later entered into the lymph capillary. Then onwards we can say that is the lymph here. Means definitely here, just assume this is the tissue, this is the one cell, this is the another cell, this is the extracellular space. In extracellular space, lymph capillaries also present in addition to the venules as well as arteriole. This is said to be as the lymph capillaries. These are the lymph capillaries. These are the lymph capillaries. 15% of the ECF which is retains in extracellular space. That 15% of ECF, 15% of ECF is later moves into the lymph capillary in order to join with the blood near the precaval vein. That 15% of ECF which is retains in extracellular space, which is later moves into the lymph capillary, that is said to be as the lymph. That is said to be as the lymph. Lymph nothing but 15% of the ECF which is present in the extracellular space, which is entered into the lymph capillary, that is said to be as the lymph here. Again, this lymph is later entered into the lymph vessel, that is later entered into lymph vessel. Later from the lymph vessel, that is entered into the lymphatic duct. That is entered into the lymphatic duct. Again, lymphatic duct gets opens into, as we are discussed in the last class, Definitely lymphatic ducts are of two types. Left lymphatic duct, right lymphatic duct. Definitely both the sides of the lymphatic ducts also opens into respective side of the free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and the subclavian vein. Already I have told you in the last class clearly what is the left lymphatic duct, what is the right lymphatic duct, from where they may be collect the lymph. Already in the last class I have given. In the last class clearly I have told to you. Definitely a lymphatic duct gets opens into free caval vein of respective side at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein. Just assume this is the internal jugular vein, this is the subclavian vein. Like this, at the junction between the internal jugular vein and the subclavian vein, this lymphatic duct gets open, finally releases the 15% of the ECF, that is nothing but lymph into the blood circulation. Means what is the route of circulation of the lymph? What is the route of the passage of the lymph means? Definitely circulation route or the passage of the lymph route is, what is the route of passage of lymph? What is the circulation route of the lymph means? At first lymph is reaches into lymph capillary. At first lymph is reaches into lymph capillaries. From where that is reaches into lymph vessel. From where that is reaches into lymph vessel. From where that is reaches into lymphatic duct. From where that is reaches into free caval vein of respective side at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein. In that way, remaining 15% of the ECF is reaches into lymph capillary, from where that is reaches into lymph vessel, from where that is reaches into lymphatic duct, from where that will be drains into the precaval vein of respective side. Next to whatever the lymph is there, definitely in the lymph all kind of the substances which may be present in the blood plasma are present except to RBC. Except to RBC, remaining all kind of the components of the blood plasma are present in the lower concentration. Definitely small sized blood proteins are present, small sized blood plasma proteins are present, nutrients are present, hormones are present, vitamins are present, antibodies are present. Definitely like that of the blood plasma, all kind of the components are present in the lymph, but concentration of that substances is low in lymph when compared to the blood plasma. But in the case of the lymph, RBCs are completely absent. RBCs are completely absent. So that only we can write it as lymph is equal to blood plasma minus RBC. Except RBC, remaining all kind of the components of blood plasma are present in small quantity. In less concentration they will be present except RBC. So that only we can say lymph equal to blood plasma minus RBC. Next, whatever the lymph capillary which is present in intestinal wall, the big sized lymph capillary which is present in intestinal wall, that is said to be as the lacteal. Small, whatever the big sized lymph capillary which is present in the wall of the small intestine, in small intestinal wall, whatever the big sized lymph capillary which is present, that is said to be as the lacteal. Into that lacteal, fatty acids are absorbed, glycerols are absorbed. That fatty acids and glycerol finally converted into chylomicrons. Inside of the lacteal they will be converted into chylomicron. This emulsion of lymph which is present in the lacteal, which is rich with chylomicron, that kind of the emulsion is said to be as the chyle. That is said to be as the chyle. Emulsion of lymph which is present in the lacteal, which is rich with chylomicron, that is the triglyceride fat, that kind of the emulsion is said to be as the chyle. Then in association with this lymphatic system, what are the organs which are present? What are the lymphatic organs which are associated to the lymphatic system of the person? Means lymphoid organs, which are associated to the lymphatic system of the person are: one is the spleen, second one is the lymph nodes and lymph glands, third one is the Peyer's patches, fourth one is tonsils, fifth one is vermiform appendix, fifth one is MALT, mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. So what are the lymphoid organs which are associated to the lymphatic system? Means first one is the spleen. Where that kind of the spleen is present in our body? Means in abdominal cavity, just below to the diaphragm in left side, bean shaped gland which is present, that is said to be as the spleen. Just assume this is the thoracic cavity, this is the diaphragm, this is the abdominal cavity. In this particular corner, whatever the kidney shaped or the bean shaped red colored structure which is present, that kind of the gland is said to be as the spleen. Again, the spleen is the largest lymphoid organ. This is the largest lymphoid organ when compared to the rest of the structures. When compared to the rest of the organ, spleen is the largest. It is the blood bank of body. It is acts as the blood bank because it is the reservoir for RBC. Spleen principally useful for the reservation of RBC. Spleen is useful for storing of RBC. So that only this is said to be as the blood bank of our body. Again, this is the RBC reservoir. Definitely it stores or reserves RBC. Whenever in the blood of the person RBC counting is decreases, whenever in the blood of the person RBC number is decreases, definitely from the spleen RBCs are gets releases into blood to bring them to the normal in the blood. So in a such way, this spleen is acts as the reservoir for the RBC. Again, this spleen is acts as graveyard of RBC because old RBCs are compulsorily destructed in spleen mostly. So that only that is said to be as the graveyard of RBC. Old RBC means lifespan of RBC is about 120 days. After 120 days, this RBCs must be reaches to the spleen for the destruction, for the recovering of iron from the hemoglobin. Definitely this kind of the old RBCs after 120 days are returned back to the spleen. They may be gets destructed inside of the spleen. So that only spleen is said to be as the graveyard of RBC. Again, it is the blood filtering organ. Definitely it is useful for trapping of blood-borne microbes. It is principally useful for the filtration of the pathogens from the blood for killing. In that way, this kind of the spleen is also acts as the blood filtering organ. Again, this is the principally it is acts as hemopoietic organ until fifth month of pregnancy. Definitely from the third month to the fifth month of pregnancy, this spleen is principally useful for the synthesis of RBC. Principally blood cells are gets synthesized from the spleen. So that only this spleen is acts as the hemopoietic organ until the fifth month of pregnancy. Definitely from the sixth month onwards, bone marrow take part for the production of the RBC. So up to the fifth month of gestation, up to the fifth month of the pregnancy, definitely spleen is useful for the synthesis of RBC. So that only that is said to be as the hemopoietic organ until the fifth month of pregnancy. It is the largest lymphoid organ. It is acts as the blood bank of our body. It is principally acts as the reservoir of RBC. It is acts as the graveyard of RBC. It is the blood filtering organ. It is acts as the hemopoietic organ until the fifth month of pregnancy. What is the location of spleen in our body means? In abdominal cavity, just below to the diaphragm, in left side, this bean shaped gland which is present, that is said to be as the spleen. Second lymphoid organ is the lymph nodes and lymph glands. In lymphatic system, whatever the oval shaped structures which may be present, oval shaped outgrowths which may be present in few sites of lymphatic system which are covered with the densely fibrous connective tissue. Such structures are said to be as the lymph nodes and the lymph gland. Specifically in the case of the lymphatic system, in few areas this oval shaped structures which may be present, which may be covered with densely fibrous connective tissue, that kind of the structures are said to be as the lymph nodes. What is the use of this kind of the lymph nodes and the lymph glands means? Specifically WBC cells such as the lymphocytes are gets produced from the lymph glands and lymph node. That lymphocytes are principally useful for killing of bacteria, for killing of the pathogen which may be tries to circulate through the lymph towards the blood. Whatever the bacteria, whatever the pathogens which are reaches into lymph, such pathogens are gets killed on or before that lymph is reaches into the blood by the involvement of the lymphocyte. Lymphocytes are principally produced from the lymph glands. That lymphocytes principally kill the bacteria which is present in the blood which is present in the lymph of the person. Next, third type of the lymphoid organs are tansils. What is the tansil means? The lymphoid tissue, mass of lymphoid tissue which is present in the oral cavity, that mass of the lymphatic tissue is said to be as the tonsil. Specifically, how many number of the tonsils are present in oral cavity of the person means 5 tonsils are present. What are the 5 tonsils means? Adenoid tonsil or pharyngeal tonsil, that is the single in number. Second one is the palatine tonsils, they are 2. Sublingual tonsils, they also 2. So adenoid tonsil, already we are discussing in the digestive system, specifically in the oral cavity. Adenoid tonsil or pharyngeal tonsil is single. Palatine tonsils are 2 in number. Sublingual tonsils, they are present below to the tongue, they are also 2. These 5 tonsils are nothing but masses of lymphatic tissue which is useful for the defense, which is useful for the killing of the pathogen which may be tries to enter into the body through the oral cavity. Next, another type of the tonsil is the abdominal tonsil, that is the vermiform appendix. This is also called as abdominal tonsil. Vermiform appendix is nothing but a finger-like elevation which arises from cecum, which is with 13 centimeters length, which is normally referred to as the vestigial organ, that is said to be as the vermiform appendix. Definitely from the cecum, whatever the finger-like elevation which is gets projected to out, which is with 13 centimeters in length, which is normally referred to as the vestigial organ, that is said to be as the vermiform appendix, that is said to be as the abdominal tonsil. So this is the appendix, this is the vestigial, this is the vestigial, means though organ is completely in development, though organ is in complete development, if it may not any function, if it may not any perform any function, then that is said to be as the vestigial. But recent researchers reveals us that this vermiform appendix must be with the lymphatic tissue that must be useful for killing of the or destruction of the toxins which may be released from the E. coli bacteria of the cecum. Definitely in the cecum E. coli bacteria are present. They may be released certain type of the toxins. That kind of the toxins are gets destroyed. That kind of the toxins are neutralized from time to time by the involvement of the lymphatic tissue which is present in the vermiform appendix. That is only belief. It's not actually practically proved information here. It is believed that this kind of the lymphatic tissue of vermiform appendix may be neutralize toxins which may be released from the E. coli bacteria from time to time. But as per our textbook information, this abdominal tonsil or the vermiform appendix is vestigial, that is the vestigial lymphoid organ. Next, another type of the lymphatic tissue is Peyer's patches. Next one is the Peyer's patches, lymphatic tissue which is present in the wall of the small intestine. Lymphatic tissue which is present in the wall of the small intestine, that is said to be as the Peyer's patches. Specifically in the case of the small intestinal wall, whatever the lymphatic tissue which is present to provide the protection to the stem cells, that is the Paneth cell, definitely that kind of the lymphatic tissue is said to be as the Peyer's patches. So this lymphatic tissue from time to time provide the protection to Paneth cell. They are the stem cells. They principally useful to renewal the lost cells of the wall of the small intestine. They principally useful to renewal the damaged cells of the wall of the small intestine. So that only Peyer's patches always provide the protection to Paneth cell of the small intestine. Next, finally, MALT, mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. What is the full form of MALT? Means mucosal associated lymphoid tissue is the MALT. Definitely it is believed that about 50% of the total lymphatic tissue is constituted by the MALT only. About 50% of lymphatic tissue is mainly by the involvement of the MALT. 50% of the lymphatic system is mainly due to the involvement of the MALT. This is associated to gastrointestinal tract, that is the digestive system, respiratory tract, that is respiratory system, again urinogenital tract, that is the excretory system and reproductive system. This mucus layers which are present in gastrointestinal tract, respiratory tract, urinogenital tract, in associated with this kind of the mucus layers, whatever the lymphatic tissue which is present, that is together called as the mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. Specifically lymphatic tissue which is associated to the mucosal layers of gastrointestinal tract, respiratory tract, urinogenital tract, such lymphatic tissue is said to be as the mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. These are the various lymphoid organs which are associated to the lymphatic system of the person. Finally, what are the functions of lymph? What are the functions which are performed by the lymph is the next one. Next one is the functions of lymph. What are the functions which are performed by the lymph means, as we are discussed in the digestive system, after completing the digestion of the fats, fatty acids and glycerols are formed as the end products. Such fatty acids and glycerols are at first reaches into lymph capillary of small intestine, that is the lacteal, from where only they may be travelled towards the blood. Means definitely lymph transport fatty acids and glycerol to blood. Definitely lymph is responsible for the transportation of the fatty acids and glycerol from the small intestine to the blood here. Second function is that lymph glands produces lymphocytes. Definitely that lymphocytes are gets transported to the blood through the lymph only. Lymph glands synthesize or produces lymphocytes, that is one type of the WBC. Such lymphocytes are gets later transported to the blood through the lymph only. Lymph is responsible to carry that lymphocytes into the blood. That is the second function. Third function is that WBC of lymph kills bacteria. Bacteria which is reaches into the lymph, that kind of the bacteria principally killed by lymphocytes such as the WBC cells of the lymph here. Lymphocyte is one type of the WBC cell. Definitely WBC of lymph always kills bacteria. To kill that kind of the bacteria, these lymphocytes which may be produced from the lymph glands are useful. Finally, lymph useful. Lymph can maintain volume of blood. Definitely to maintain the volume of the blood, lymph must be take part. To regulate, to maintain volume of the blood also lymph must be involved. Means lymph transport digested fats such as the fatty acids and glycerol to the blood. Again lymph glands always produces lymphocytes. That lymphocytes later gets delivered into the blood through the lymph only. WBC cells which are present in the lymph are useful to kill the bacteria which may be reaches into the lymph and which may be tries to enter into the blood through the lymph here. Again, lymph also can maintain the volume of the blood. Lymph is responsible to regulate the volume of the blood also. This is the lymphatic system. Next topic is blood coagulation.